What's up, garden gurus? Welcome to Karel's Gardening. I hope you're ready because today we're going to be diving deep inside the wonderful world of worms. Yep, that's right, we're going to be shining the spotlight of the wonderful creatures which are really quite the life force of our gardens. Today I'm going to be teaching you how you can create your own little worm farm at home so that you can start turning your food scrap into black gold. That's really going to be the envy of every plant in your neighborhood, right? Now, worm farming or vermicompost for your trivia crazy people out there, right, is really a way for you to use your food waste instead of putting that into your landfill and really turning that into a material that you can use to grow your plant into, right? But the other thing as well is that's gonna make you a real wriggly superhero. The mission, should you accept it, involves a little bit of eating and a little bit of pooing as well. Now, don't worry, you're not gonna be the one doing the pooing, the worms are gonna be the one doing that. But really, this is all the garden goodness that you can use to be able to grow your plants. And the end product of that system is going to be something that people affectionately call the vermicast, the worm casting, but I like to call it worm poo, really, because this is what it is. And the worm poo is the best friend for your garden. You want to think of it like a slow release organic multivitamin for your plants. So I hope you're ready to wriggle, okay? Because we're going to go straight into it. Let's go. First of all, you're going to need a good container for it. So we got this old esky that we're about to throw it on the nature strip, and it's really an old one. And we're going to be able to recycle that into our container for our worm farm. Now, in this case, width actually is much better. It beats depth, okay? So you want to have a container that is wide enough. You don't need to have that much depth. About this depth is good enough, right? And of course, the size depends on how many worms you want to have to breed. You want to have breeding in here, right? Now, the container needs to be opaque. Opaque means you can't see through it. This is not transparent, right? The reason why is because your wriggly friends in there, they don't like the light. They want to be able to be cozy in there, completely in the shade, completely in the dark really, so that they can eat and poop without you looking at them. And of course, this is a lot cheaper than going to buy a worm farm directly from your provider. Like here, I bought this system about a few years ago at Bunnings, and this costs about $70 to $80, right, which is quite expensive. Here I'm using recycled material, so I didn't pay anything for that. This is just something that we had in the backyard actually from the previous owners of this house, right? So I'm just reusing this. And really, if you didn't have anything, no containers, you could buy a small container about this size at Bunnings for $5 to $10, really, and not spending those $80. And here we're not going to build a complex system. Here the system is multi-tier, so when one tier is full, you can use the next tier. Here we're going to use a really simple system. There's not going to be a tier. The worms don't care about a multi-tier system, right? They're going to work just fine in this system. Next, you're going to need a drill, and the drill needs to be at least 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to be drilling way down the bottom, like on the lowest points that you have in your container. If there's a little bit of a mound here in the middle of your container, you don't want to drill into the mound. You really want to drill at the bottom point here. And this is not an escape route for your worms. This is really for the water, the excess water, to be able to go down there, because too much water in here would create an anaerobic environment, and the worms, they don't like anaerobic environments, okay? So let's go and drill those holes. Now that you've drilled some holes at the bottom so that the excess water can go out of the box, you also want to drill some holes at the top and also on the sides here. And this will create some air circulation for your worms. Your worms, they love oxygen. They can't live without it. They're just like humans. They breathe in oxygen and they exhale carbon dioxide, right? So without oxygen, they can't live in here. And the fun fact as well is you do want moisture in the box. The worms, they breathe through their skin. They don't have lungs just like we do. They breathe through their entire body, and they need moisture to be able to do that. In fact, worms are 75% water. So what they do is they use water to move around as well. They go and flex their muscles around their water-filled body to be able to actually move around and find food and continue to prosper. Okay, so we're gonna go and drill some holes. Same thing. Don't worry how many holes you want to drill. Enough holes all the way here, all around the box. And let's go and do that. There you have it all drilled. You don't have to be too fancy with your drilling or too perfect on where it is, etc. You can see I got some drills on the sides here, drill holes on the side, and here on the top as well, and at the bottom. Now we're ready to actually add some bedding. Now your worms is gonna need some bedding. The best bedding, the coziest thing is to use some homemade compost that I got here. Now if you do not have homemade compost, what you can use some newspaper. You can use some normal papers as well that you shred beforehand, or you can use some straw as well. Okay, so don't worry too much if you don't have homemade compost, and you want a good layer of it at the bottom. Now what is great about the compost is that it's quite broken down, right? And here I got some eggshells as well. So really the worms, as they settle into this new environment, so have a little bit of food that they can be able to munch on. Now, if you do use shredded newspaper, you want to add some grit, because your worms, they don't have teeth like you and I have. They use grit to be able to eat their food, and that can be some garden soil that you add into here, or some crushed eggshells. Okay, next up, your worms. Now the most important part, sourcing your worms. Now you can't get the worms that you have in your gardens. They're not gonna like this environment. They're probably gonna escape, right? The type of worms that you want are the red wrigglers. Those are the best worms that you can add to your new farm. So here I got quite a few of them down here, you see. So I'm just gonna get a handful of them and move them across. Now you don't need that many, right? You can buy those worms at Bunnings or any nursery that you know of. Oh, I got still baby worms here stuck on my finger. Now you can buy in packs of 500 or 1,000. I recommend you start with 500. Those worms, they do reproduce really quite quickly. They can really just double very quickly in the setup, as long as they have the right environment, enough food. The worms, they regulate themselves, and what that means is that if there's too much food for them, then they go and reproduce more to be able to eat all that food. If there's just enough food, it's just going to keep the numbers. If there's less food, they're going to let them die and not reproduce as much. So as long as you have the right environment, the enough food, and it's the moist environment for them, and enough space as well, they're going to be reproducing really quite quickly. So I would start with 500, not 1,000. Or you can also call one of your friends who also already have a farm and just get some worm of them. So here I might add a little bit more worms so I can really kickstart this new setup fairly quickly. Here we go, look at that. But remember though, in the first week, you do not want to feed them. You want them to acclimatize to their new environment, right? So don't add any food in there. That's why I use the home compost. If they want some food, there's some food that is already composted here that you can go and munch on, but you don't want to add some fresh food into it, because that fresh food is going to start smelling, because they're not going to eat it as quickly as they usually would in a already set up system. Okay, so there you go. This is how you go and source your worms. Just buy only 500. Don't go to the 1,000. It's not worth it in my opinion. But really, if you have a really big setup and you're used to worm farming, etc., maybe you want to get to 1,000. But if you're just starting, just stick with the small numbers. So now you got pretty much your bin pretty much complete. You got your worms in there, you got your beddings, they're ready to go. So you may be wondering, how do I go and feed them? Now remember, like I said, in the first week or the first few days, you don't want to feed them. You want them to really get used to the new environment that they're now in. But then when you're ready to feed them, you want to think that a worm can eat about half of its weight a day. So if we look at a pack of 500 worms, that's probably around 125 grams, right? So for a full week, you want to give them maybe 875 grams of food per week, okay? And just once a week, you don't need to feed them that much, right? Just once a week. Now, you don't need to be a worm whisperer to be able to know how much food they need. You'll be able to get a feel of it as you go and as you actually go and feed them weeks after week. I don't go and weigh the food anymore. I kind of know what my worms need in terms of food volume and how much food they need for the week, right? Now, like I said, if you want more worms though, you want to give them a little bit more food. If you want less worms, just give them a little bit less. Now, I don't know anybody that wants less worms, right? Usually you would want more worms. So yes, you want to give them a little bit more food and you want to see how quickly they go and munch through that food. And that's really it. There's no magic science behind it. There's no voodoo behind it. There's no dark arts behind it. It's really that simple. Give them some food and observe how much they go through it. So like I said, your worms, they don't have teeth. That's why we added a little bit of grit into their bedding, right? But you can go a step further for them and really make it easy for them to be able to process that food. And to do that, all you need to do is before you put your food scrap into your worm farm, just go and use a food processor or a blender and blend all that food together so that they end up with really small bits that they can easily digest. Right now, there's some food that they don't like, so you got to be careful. They don't like fatty food, they don't like dairy food, they don't like citrusy kind of things like your lemon peels, your orange peels, etc. And they also don't like the alliums, and those are like your onions and your garlic. You don't need to add some seasoning into your worms for them to be able to do the work. So don't put any of that. Your worms are going to be better for it, a lot healthier, and you're going to get a really good product for your next season to be able to plant. One thing I do want to be clear about though is that the best way to farm your worms is directly here in your garden, right? And to do that, you want to have like a really good layer of mulch on top of your soil, and the worms are going to come and they're going to be very happy. They're still going to poop and they're going to add all that marvelous gold around your plants naturally, right? But having a worm farm is a really good way for you to not have to come all the way out in your garden when it's freezing cold in winter here in Melbourne to be able to put your food into your compost bin or to put it on your garden. You can have that right next to your kitchen. For me, I have that right outside of our kitchen, right? So it's very easy for me to add the food scrap into it. But really, it's still a really ecological way for you to be able to break down your food scrap before adding them to your plants. So there you have it, my friends, the ins and outs, the highs and lows, the hits and tricks of starting your own vermicomposting system at home, and all of that on a budget. So if this video helped you see the worms in a whole new light today, just smash that like button. And if you'd like to see more garden tips video like this in the future, just hit that subscribe button as well. And as I like to say it each time in my videos, it's never been a better time to become a gardener. So join our thriving community of garden gurus around the world today, and let's get worm farming. And with that, happy gardening.